Hello guys, how you doing? Welcome to another Castle podcast where we don't got your princess, but we got your podcast. I know, full disclosure, kind of uploaded a raw conversation between me and my friend named Zach, and went through, kind of re-edited a little bit. It's mainly because I wanted to add more to the episode. Our conversation was great. It was like an hour something long. I kind of go on and ramble and forget I'm recording a podcast and then just start talking to him, and then it's just like, oh yeah, forgot, kind of, this is being recorded. So that happened, but he gives a great detailed breakdown of the Elite, the new Elite controller for Xbox, which is it's like a $180 controller, so that's no messing around, and you definitely want to do your research on it before you dive into something like that. And he breaks it down pretty well. I ask, typical stupid questions, but he maneuvers around them pretty nice and answers them. But also, I want to talk about, I've been playing a lot of the Outer Worlds, trying to. It's just one of those games that you sit down and you start playing it, and then it's 3 hours later. But yeah, I want to do that. I want to add in some new segments, so this will be an updated episode. Big thanks to Zach for being on it. And here we go. Okay, I played the full version of that intro song. It's like 48 seconds. I don't know. I like it. It's very interesting. I was cutting it down. It sounded kind of weird, and I don't know. But I'm glad you guys are back. To the 11 people that listened to the the full raw version, welcome back. There's a new thing, new stuff. I'm saying words that are new. No, basically, it's just I wanted to add a little more structure to it and do some stuff. I got kind of overzealous and wanted to post the conversation, then realized I wanted to keep the same format. Maybe later I'll do long form conversations, just be like, hey, this is a bonus episode. I'm going to talk with my friend about this. I'm going to talk with them about that. And we talked for like an hour and a half, like me and Zach did. But I hope everyone had a good Halloween. I did. I spent it with my brother. I know this is not video game related. I'm trying to be more, talk with you guys a little more, not really blogging or whatever, but, try and talk with you guys. But I had a good Halloween, spent it with my brother in Indiana, and we had a great time. I went over there, saw my nephew. We were going to play games, and then we just ended up talking, which was great. And fun thing, I'm not sure what you guys watch, if you watch any scary movies, stuff like that. I mean, with Netflix and Hulu and every other thing on the planet, there's tons of shit you guys could have watched. Hope you got some scary shit. My brother and I settled on, after we tried to watch some show on Netflix. It was bad, so I'm not gonna remember what it was, and if I did, I probably wouldn't say. Something to do with hauntings. Sorry, I'm sounding out of breath. I'm walking around my apartment. But we started watching it, and it was pretty. We just kept calling bullshit. We drank a couple beers, and we sat there, and we're just like, I don't believe that. I don't think that that's true. Then we started laughing at it, and we're like, no, we need to find something scary. Now, full disclosure, I say this in the part I talk with Zach about, but I'm in my 30s. My other brother's in his late 20s, and we were talking about old scary shows, stuff that scared us, and we remembered the old original Unsolved Mysteries with good old Robert Stack doing the whole... I mean, that guy couldn't have done more than one take. He just seemed like he just knew his shit and said, boosh, even when he was on airplane. But we talked about my mom and my grandmother and my mom's side, my mom's mom, if you will. She was really into like, aliens and like all the sci-fi, loved the X-Files, stuff like that. Really cool. And her and my mom used to watch Unsolved Mysteries, right? And now they would fall asleep to this. Like this was calming to them. Okay, brief breakdown of what the fuck Unsolved Mysteries is. Hey, here are really good 90s... well, it started in the late 80s, but here are really good 90s reenactments of fucked up crimes. And then we're going to end it with, we don't know where the fuck this guy is. If you see him, call us. And that's how episodes would end. So I remember specifically laying like in the living room with or without my brother. I'm sure there's several times that we did make a pout on the floor or something, but that music would kick in, that scary as shit, right? That was great, scary fucking music. Then here comes like synth sounds and scary, and then even the goddamn logo has smoke all over it. And Robert Stack comes in, and he's going to tell you that someone got murdered really bad, and they don't know where the fuck the guy's at, and he's probably in your neighborhood. And I have this real big fear of like open windows at night. Not like open, but like open blinds. And man, it would scare me to death if I like had my blinds open at night and someone's head popped in my window. Oh, I'd piss myself. I would piss all over myself. I probably wouldn't be able to scream, and then I'd die of a heart attack, and then probably shit myself once I died. So we get on there, and he's just like, yeah, that scared the shit out of me. And I was like, it's got to be on something. So we find out that I think just the first season's on Hulu, but I know on the Roku channel they have like every fucking season, and they're all updated. Now, one of the things the show used to do was it would have updates. Like if a previous episode they caught one of the guys, they would show like their current story, do their thing. If you know where this guy is or seen anything or whatever, then call us. And then it would kind of, fade to black, and they would just be like, boom, update. And it would tell you, hey, we caught that fucking guy. He killed 17 more people, but viewers like you helped, do whatever. Kind of like America's Most Wanted, but super scarier. Because they would do alien stories and abductions and all this stuff. And they would go to the actual locations. Like there was one where the ship was supposed to be haunted. So like they're filming in the ship and Robert Stack's walking around the place. It was a brilliant show. Scary as shit. So we start watching it. We get pizza. We have a couple beers. My nephew's asleep in his bedroom. Not fazed by it at all. And me and him fall asleep to it. I know he did, because he eventually told me, but we both started having like the music and the things they were talking about in the television show started seeping into our dreams. Because I passed out on the couch and he passed out in a chair. And I started having dreams of the episodes. And so finally I kind of woke up and that music was going and I was kind of freaked out, and it had just snowed in Indiana and it was creepy, and my brother lives out by a cornfield, so I was like, what the fuck? Luckily my dog was there, but he was passed out on the other couch, and I think it affected my brother because eventually I kind of hear him get up and he's looking around, and I'm thinking, okay, he's probably looking for the remote. That's cool, whatever. He can't find the remote. And this music, I know it's freaking me out. And eventually he tells me it's freaking him out. He just says, fuck it, and goes over and just unplugs the fucking TV and kind of goes, dude, that fucking freaking music was freaking me the fuck out. I couldn't take it. And I was like, yep, I'm right there with you. And so, like, I actually got kind of scared Halloween. That was it. That was my whole Halloween story. But I did give you guys some ideas for games and some deals happening, and I know for Xbox people, Friday 13th was free, and then if you're PlayStation, you have VR. I mean, fuck, just play Doom in VR. That's gotta be freaky as shit. I haven't done it, but I want to. But no, I hope everyone had a good Halloween. So there's that. I didn't really do anything else. I'm not really sure if I did anything else. But no, I want to talk to you guys about some video game stuff. I haven't really seen the movies. I mean, I went and saw Gemini Man a couple weeks ago or something, and that was interesting. It was, just something that I guess had to be seen. They were showing a special high frame rate version in 3D, like 60 frames or something, which is really cool. This is more for like film nerds. So that was like a spectacle to see. That was pretty cool. Other than that, no, I've not really just been dabbling in the outer world. So let's get to that. Okie dokie. I'm just going to talk about some quick stuff. Stuff I don't have too much information on, experience with, or knowledge about. So, yeah, great reasons to listen to my podcast. Anyway, some big games came out. Some others were announced. I have not had a chance to play a couple of them. I've watched reviews on others, and some were kind of disappointments to some people. Start out with real quick, full disclosure. I have not played the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I did, however, I did play the Call of Duty beta. I pulled old switcheroo and got access to it for free. And I got to play that, and it was fun. It was fun, and it was Call of Duty. Now, there's some things that made me miss about Black Ops 4, which I do own. But it honestly made me kind of miss the little health shot. That part was just like, I kind of missed that. I was disappointed with... I thought there was going to be full-on, like, Rainbow Six Siege leaning. My friend Jared and I really thought, like, okay, they're going to add leaning to it. And honestly, I really like it. Like, when I hop in Rainbow Six Siege, I'm like, oh, yeah. That's that thing I enjoy. And in the watching gameplay previews and people playing at different cons and everything, I thought that leaning was in it. Little misdirect. You can kind of do that when you lock onto like corners of like walls. You can do kind of like a lean around on that. Now that system surprisingly worked well, and I ended up using it a lot. So I was like, okay, fine. And it felt kind of intuitive. Okay, fine. And I was going to use the lean to go around corners anyway. So, okay, fine. It's their version of the lean. It works. I don't really have any complaints about it. I just thought I was going to have an open lean, which would lead to all the funny Rainbow Six Siege memes that, people leaning back and forth real fast, like for a joke or whatever, which is always hilarious. But I mean, that happened. Maps are okay, guns are okay, graphics were great. The cutscenes and everything, the little animation, those were great. Those were really great. Probably I think hands down best in the series, and everything I've heard about it is best in the series. I've watched a couple streams and saw them, and they were really, really good. So I really, really enjoyed that kind of stuff. But I've not got a chance to play it. I have some buddies who have. I've been poor, and only reason I even got to play Outer Worlds was because it's free on Game Pass. So I got that free day one, and that's where I've kind of been at with that kind of stuff. And honestly, a good single player game is where my head's at right now anyway. And I really want to dive into a world and get invested again, because it feels like it's been a while since I've really been able to dive in and invest into a world and care about characters. And I'm kind of getting Mass Effect vibes. Now, I go on later about that game in the podcast, or, later. Next, actually, I think. I know, I've already recorded it. I just don't know where I put it yet. But it should be coming out next. But yeah, I go into that game. But no, I'm not done. I'm not done that. Um, During my conversation with Zach, we talked about Diablo because me and him have played a lot of Diablo. So I'll probably save that till next episode, that little conversation, because again, I sound like an idiot. And the calling feature on Anchor, for some reason, he came through and sounded great. I sounded kind of like I was in the background and my voice was coming over a speaker, like over his speakerphone or something weird. Like if you would record me off speakerphone onto a recording device. So I'm not sure about that, but I'll probably post that in the future, a little Diablo 4 as we get closer to the release date for that. But that got announced. Diablo 4 officially got announced. I talked about it not last week, last episode, and about how the art book possibly leaked information about it. And everyone thought, well, okay, when they say Diablo 4 in the art book, it's either this is a crazy leak for a Diablo game, or they're talking about Diablo Immortal, the mobile game. And sure fucking enough, man, it was about Diablo fucking 4. Like, holy poop. Cannot believe that got leaked like that. That's kind of crazy. Watch the opening cinematic, which I don't know if it's the opening cinematic. It's the preview. Man, I can't think of what the phrase is for it. It's the announcement. The announcement in movie announcement thing. Super good. I mean, it looks like a full, probably better than Pixar, but like a full on great little movie, and introduces the game to where I'm just like, yes, I'm all in. And then they're just like, oh yeah, this is at BlizzCon. Here's game footage. So you already see game footage and you see what they're adding to it, what they're doing for the next iteration, everything. So excited about that. Super, super excited. Here's the downside. I've not seen, and I could be wrong, I've not seen what systems yet. Undoubtedly, it'll be Xbox, PlayStation, PC. I want a Switch. I want a Switch day one version of it. Yes, might run a little bit less, even though Diablo 3 runs just as good, but that's technically an Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 game. But it runs just as good on my Switch as it does on my console, which I've talked about last episode before last, a bunch. But I don't see why. Give me a little downgrade. I don't care, because definitely given the type of game it is, with the camera view it has, the kind of RTS asymmetrical top down, maybe not asymmetrical, maybe I'm using the wrong word. But anyways, that kind of view, I don't see why the gameplay couldn't run at least 30 frames a second in 1080p. I don't know why. I don't know why it couldn't. I'm not a game designer. I have no clue what the technical necessities are for that. I'm just going to ignorantly say they should do it. It's possible. Based on no evidence. But yeah, usually they'll, at the end of their little deals or whatever, the little trailers and videos they have, they'll pop up at the bottom like, like an Xbox One logo, or if they're being cheeky, just an Xbox logo, so you don't know if it's for One or Scarlet, or a PlayStation logo, or just the PS on it or something like that. And I've not seen that. So undoubtedly, the next PlayStation, the next Xbox, and of course your PC. I really hope they give Switch a shot, because I know they found success with it on Switch. It sold a lot. I bought it for another $60 full. So I really hope that they announce it for that. And also next, in this little quick news thing that's 8 minutes already into it, Death Stranding came out, and I thought this was a for sure home run. Going to be 9999s out of the gate, whatever. 6.8 is what IGN gave it. Pretty sure. Let me double check. Because as I'm saying it, I'm even kind of shocked that it was like that. Yeah, 6.8. A good old 6.8. A 6.8 for a Hideo Kojima game. Like, I know there's going to be lots of cinematics, but I'm kind of seeing staggered reviews as well. Like I've seen a 9. And I'm not sure if it's Eurogamer. Someone gave it a 9, and then I've heard, like the IGN with the 6.8. I'm just like, okay, holy shit. It's technically a walking simulator. And if you know anything about Hideo Kojima, you know that he talks about his love and fascination with film and storytelling. I mean, if you played any of the Metal Gears, you know that there's 14 hours of cutscenes in them. But that's what kind of sucked me in the original Metal Gear Solid was the story, and I wanted to know what was going to happen, and I cared about the characters, and I wanted to know, what was Fox Die and all that. Really, really interesting original stuff. This seems like something I'll still play because of the original ideas and the storytelling. It's just I just heard it get bashed for the gameplay, and it's a lot of like stuff that would be side missions on other games are the main missions in this game. It's a lot of fetch quests and take this here because you essentially play a futuristic mailman. Norman Reedus, great. I've heard Guillermo del Toro that his character was pretty much just he's in there. He plays kind of a goofy version of himself, which he seems like a goofy, fun guy, even though he directed Pan's Labyrinth, and that kind of scares me. But yeah, I was just really shocked to see staggering results on this because it was like Kojima was out from Kojima Productions and he was doing his own thing, and everyone knows, I mean, you might feel differently, but the majority of the vote is that he got kind of screwed over there. And everyone's just like, yes, finally, and especially Jeff Keighley. Jeff Keighley is his personal cheerleader, but because he put him in the game. But I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I saw an Arby's ad for Death Stranding. Now, granted, Arby's their social media campaigns are great with video games. They've been doing video games for a while. So, I mean, they did like a Mortal Kombat one, a Street Fighter. They've done a lot of stuff for video games. But still, just kind of, caught me off guard with that kind of stuff. So I was just kind of like, wow, I can't believe that only got a 6.8 from them. And granted, you might think that IGN's biased, or they might like it, or might not, whatever. I don't know. I mean, I read and watched other reviews, and that was the one consistent thing, was just like, okay, there's not too much to do. There's a little bit of combat, and you're pretty much walking, and it's a real big walking sim, like watching your health. I mean, you can piss, which is great. And it's something you kind of need to do, to keep your Norman Reedus healthy and everything like that. But I don't know. I don't know about you, but I was kind of shocked. I thought that'd be a home run. And the ads for it up to this point were just so crazy and out there that, I mean, I remember up until probably the summer of this year, I still was asking, what the fuck is this game about? What is it? What is he trying to say? Who is this people? Why is there this baby? What's going on with that? I was even shocked to find out that it's in America. Well, the United States. I was shocked to find out that it actually took place in the United States, because none of the landscape looked like the United States, and there hadn't been real much information about it. So I thought this would be an easy home run. But it seems like even the people that gave it the 6.8 over at IGN still says, like, no, it's a great game, and there's good acting, and the animation and all that kind of stuff is great and everything. But it's just, when you're playing a video game, it's in the title, like, your gameplay. That's what you're making. If you're gonna make a movie, a CGI movie, make it. Go ahead. I'm pretty sure Kojima could get funding for a completely CGI movie. If he wanted to make a Death Stranding just a movie, I'm pretty sure he could do that. But as far as gameplay goes, everyone's just like, I don't know. Because even the good reviews were talking about the story, the message behind the story, the acting. I heard one of them even quote, it showcases the modern state and possibly future state of human interaction as we know it. I'm just like, yeah, but it's a video game too. Like, is it fun to play? Is it something I want to sit down and play and get into it? And for some people it was. The world and the acting and the characters and all that stuff drove the gameplay versus the gameplay driving the rest of it, which can be a good thing, because interesting characters lead to I mean, it sounds shady to say, but interesting characters lead to merchandise and people wanting to know more about it, and possibly like mini movies and stories and comic books. And I mean, you build an interesting enough world, and anything can become of it. I mean, look at something like Star Wars. I'm pretty sure George Lucas wasn't planning out the finer details of bounty hunters when Boba Fett was brought into that, and now we have an entire television show that's coming out based on bounty hunting in that universe. So there is something to be said of creating a superbly interesting and unique world, and I think he's done that. I think that's a consensus that everyone says that he has clearly done that, and his world building skills are second to almost none. So that's really cool. And honestly, I want to play it because I want to know what happens. It takes place, like I said, in the United States, and it's after all this stuff has happened. I don't want to give away too much, but it's an interesting enough idea and concept in a medium that I enjoy, which is video games, that I feel compelled to want to play it. But I'm glad that I now know that, like, okay, it's not going to be a mind-altering gameplay loop that's going to be like so addicting that you're just going to want to think about it all the time. So I understand that and get that, but I just really thought this would be a complete home run. Now, it's not anywhere near what a failure at all, but I was just shocked that I even saw a 6.8 from them. I was just like, wow, 7, maybe 7. Give them that, 2 little tenths of a point, I guess, or whatever. But that's kind of the brief of what I feel about that. Those are the 3 games that I have not played, and I just talked about for about 16 minutes about them. On to a game that I have played. We'll talk about Outer Worlds. Woo! I'm pacing around my apartment, and I think I'm getting a workout. This is embarrassing. Okay. So I was really, really excited for Outer Worlds, and it didn't disappoint. And I'm really glad that Obsidian, they kind of undersold this game. All the press stuff I saw that where they were talking at either E3 or Gamescom, wherever they were at, they were just trying to. I feel like they were trying to bring people's hopes down as far as how long the game is. What to expect from it, that there is an ending to it, much like Fallout 3, if anyone remembers that, before the DLC expanded it into where you can go back in and do your side missions, and I think it did them good, because they were just like, oh, this is not a 100-hour epic, this is not Skyrim, this is not a full Fallout, this is not that, it's just kind of our collective talents through doing, because they did like KOTOR 2, which is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2. They've done Fallout New Vegas. Obsidian's even did if I remember right, the South Park games. So they've been around for a while, and the 2 original creators of Fallout are heads of Obsidian. So you have that playing towards our strengths. So going into it, I've been streaming it. I'm going to stream it today. So if you listen to this, I'm going to stream it today. It's like 10:47. I've already been to work. As you know, I work in TV, and we've already done our show for the day. So I have the rest of the day. But I had to go back and rewatch my stream because I played it for like a good hour, and I was already tired and I had to be up the next day. So I played for a good hour, got into a good mission, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to end the stream, whatever, and go to bed. So I do that, and I come back the next day, excited, because you already meet characters, and they put you in this world in such a believably fast way that I was pretty impressed with it. But I came back to it, and I started walking around, and I was just like, man, I really already care about these characters and these other people, because they introduce you to a dilemma pretty quickly, and they're pretty big ramifications. And I was just like, hold on, I'm in the first 2 hours of this game. I'm already deciding fates of certain things. Okay, wait, I gotta go back. So I went back and actually watched. I mean, I skimmed through it, but I watched most of my stream, and I was like, wow, they get you in fast and mostly believable, because of course your character's pretty accepting to what this not really mad scientist guy, but you kind of accept what this guy tells you pretty quickly, which is another point that story-wise, I'm just like, okay, do I trust him? Is he telling the truth? Is there ulterior motives? Whatever. But that was really good. And so I watched it, and I was just like, wow, they really get you in. So that kind of caught me off guard, but in a good way. There wasn't a lot of hand-holding, pretty much at all. Now it's showing me more and more as it goes on. Because I'm still within the first 5 or so hours of it, 5-6 hours, and it shows you more and more. But if you've played a Fallout or any kind of modern RPG, you kind of get the rigmarole. I do enjoy the way their skill trees are, because to me, it makes things matter more, because the way that they categorize everything, it's just like, okay, your hacking isn't just for hacking. It has other applications that can apply to certain things. And so, man, I'm trying not to give too much away, but it makes me want to add skill points to attributes that I normally wouldn't do in another game. Yeah, hacking is great and all, but I can get by with lockpicking in Skyrim or even in the Fallout and never feel like I miss much. This one will categorize like hacking and like 2 or 3 other things in the same, where you add your points. Man, I'm trying to explain it. I'm doing a horrible job. And it makes you add your points in a really, really cool way. You can tell that they've thought this through, and they've actually like done their research given their past. That part's really, really fun so far. And what really surprised me was the shooting in it. Now, there's no VAT system. Spoiler. I probably should have said spoiler before I said that, but you do any research and you find that out. There's no VAT system from Fallout. And this is very a Fallout heavy looking game. It is not a KOTOR game, obviously, because that's Star Wars. That was third person. This scales more on the Fallout side of it. But I have not had any glitches. I haven't had people falling through the floor or people flying up in the air or any kind of the Bethesda stuff that's happened. And I think that's kind of what a lot of people with Fallout New Vegas, because I've recently, not super recently, but Fallout New Vegas went on sale and I went back and played it, and it feels more, I don't know, intact, I guess is the word. Like, it just feels more put together. I don't feel like it needs a bunch of updates or post-update, like tweaking after day one kind of thing. So that feels good, but the shooting feels really good, and it matters where you shoot someone. I mean, much like in VATS, but VATS was more of a percentage based, like more of like your odds of hitting the arm. As far as my recollection goes, I don't remember, if you shoot the arm, it'll have much of an effect versus, causing damage to the enemy. This one, it sounds kind of weird to say, but you shoot them in the head and it can blind them for a while, so they're not going to be able to shoot you correctly. Or you can shoot the arm with the gun in it, and it can either like completely knock out the gun, it can mess up their aiming with it, depending on if they're alien, robot, what have you. And that's really cool. So, and also you can't technically slow down time, like freeze it, or you can slow it down, but you can't freeze it. And that's done really well. And I find myself using it as a way to kind of start off in an engagement with someone. Like if I'm going towards, I was actually rescuing a character, or I thought I was, and I went there. I had a companion, and she was with me, and she kind of said, on your call kind of thing or whatever. And so I found a guy, and I went slow motion, and I got my best shot I could off on him, and then we were off to the races, and we're fighting. And if I still keep comparing this to KOTOR and Fallout, but combat is better than any of those. And I really like it. I did not expect the melee system. I really didn't. All I saw was shooting, and I guess I didn't see enough of it. I mean, I saw some melee stuff, but didn't think it'd be a big deal in it. But I mean, I have like a sword right now that's pretty badass, and stuff does wear down. It's fairly easy to repair stuff and break down things. The system, it takes a little getting used to. Once you do and you realize it, because you can also easily upgrade, repair, replace your companion stuff, which I really, really like. And once you learn that system, it's pretty easy, and you can hop in and out of it. It almost... oh, sorry, I sat down. I kind of winded myself walking around. I am fat. But it almost has, I don't want to say this and get anyone's hopes up as far as a loot system goes, but it has kind of a Diablo light feeling to it, where I get excited about exploring. Like, I want to get into more stuff, because you do find good gear, and you can upgrade gear, and then you can break down your old gear to add new stuff, and then you can modify that current gear to make that gear better, and then you go into a new area and find even better gear. It's just, it kind of has that loot cycle, which I really like in the Diablo games, and that kind of makes me keep going and feel kind of like it's a real world where almost anything's possible, because at any point I can find some badass thing. It's not like, okay, here's the 6 weapons in the game, and you can mess with them throughout the course of the game, or here's the 6 types of armor, or even like less than that. This feels like truly like, wow, there could be almost anything inside this, kind of like Borderlands does, like with their guns and systems like that, where you're just like, wow, I could find a shotgun with a rocket launcher on it, or something crazy. So that's another thing that's really, really well done with it. Now, I'm going to talk about. I don't know any spoilers. Actually, I'm really happy about that. But the only downsides I've heard is that this game does end. There is an ending, which I will not be surprised at all if there's DLC that opens it back up and raises a level cap or something and adds more to it. I'd be kind of surprised if that didn't happen. Because I remember in Fallout 3, that ended, and then they added the Broken Steel DLC, and then that opened it back up and raised level cap, so you could continue on from the last mission and go on and do side missions and find better stuff, and have like all new adventures on the stuff that you missed through your first playthrough. And I can't remember if that was by design or if they did that out of backlash after a game like Morrowind or something that they did, where it's just kind of infinitely playable, or even like a Grand Theft Auto where it's infinitely playable. I think that I don't know what they did that with, but I see this as being that type of game. But I've heard people say like, no, because there's definitely going to be a 2, because I guess they've already done that well enough to where they've kind of soft announced that they're going to start working on a 2, and that's probably going to be Xbox exclusive, because Xbox bought Obsidian. And kudos to Xbox for still allowing this game to come out, even though I'm not sure if they could have stopped it, they probably would have lost a lot of money. But I'm glad that they still let it come out on multiple consoles. It's a smart move on their part, for one, because they get money off PlayStation sales. So that's smart too. And also, if people like the game and they get involved in the world and invest in it, and they want to play the second one, there's your Xbox Scarlet deal, which is really nice. It's something I really wish PlayStation would try to do. Only game that comes to mind really with PlayStation though is MLB The Show. I really wish they'd open that up because I have one of my brothers. He's really into baseball, and I know he would buy it. But it's not a system seller, so I'm just not sure why they don't do that. Very strange with Sony, but no, I'm glad that happened though. But yeah, there is an ending to it. From what I'm hearing, which I've not went to like howtobeat.com or anything like that, which is a great fun site. But all I'm hearing from reviewers are, if you barrel straight through the story, you're looking at right under like 30 hours, which is plenty for a game like me who's an adult in his 30s and has commitments and stuff, because I can hop on for 2-3 hours a day or something, and I've got something to look forward to. I do hope that they open that up though. I really hope they open it. I was kind of surprised when I heard that it actually ends. I'm like, well, didn't they stop doing that in 2008? But apparently it's just like with Fallout 3, where when you go into the last mission, it lets you know, hey, this is the last. Just so you know, once you go past the point, you're not going to be able to go back. So I'm glad it does that, because that might be a workaround to, until this DLC comes out, which is not announced. I've not even heard rumors of it, but it might be a nice workaround that once you reach that point, you can just go, oh, like I have no desire to end my playthrough yet. And you can back away from that final mission and then go do all your fun stuff. And then when you're ready to go to the end, you can do that. So I guess that's a silver lining to it. But you could do that in Fallout 3 also. But people wanted to know the ending, So I'm really happy with that. And I'm going to stream that today. I'm going to hop back in here as soon as I kind of finagle this podcast and try to make it interesting. I'm going to hop back on. I've repped it before, but it's mixer.com/thriller_daddy. Don't ask. It's a dumb story. It's not exciting. It was a suggestion. That was it. So it's Thriller, like the Michael Jackson album, then an underscore, and then Daddy, DADDY. And I'll be on there. I'll probably post a link on the Facebook and Twitter if you guys are following that. Thank you. If you're not, just go over there. Click the little thumbs up, and then I don't post crazy. I really only post like, hey, new episode coming out, or hey, I'm going to stream. That's pretty much about it. I don't want to blow up your feed with dumb stuff like, hey, did you see this? And it just be some kind of clickbait story. So I should definitely do it. Also on Instagram. So it's just, I got Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And it's just, if you just Google Another Castle Podcast, on all those, it'll pop up the same symbol. I can't say who the character is that I use as my cover art, because I'm pretty sure it's all copywritten. So I'll just say a Mushroom Kingdom guy giving you the finger. You'll find that on all those social media sites. So I'd love for you guys to come watch and comment. So that's kind of my rant on Outer Worlds. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Right now I'm here with Zach T, which is what we'll say for now. I'm Zach A, as everyone knows, and I'm in the southern part of Ohio. Figure out where the fuck that is. I don't care, but I'm not gonna say where. And Zach is in Indiana, so he's in that whole heartland state where I came from. He's a good friend. We've played a lot of games together. We played Diablo 3 a lot. He's saved my ass so fucking much. But we always end up talking about shit. We disagree on some stuff. We agree on the majority of shit. But the main reason I want to talk to Zach is because Zach let me know that he has an Elite 2 controller. He also had an Elite 1 controller. And he knows the main difference between the both. And it sounds like it's a really good investment because I wanted the first one because the weight felt so good. And I just liked the way everything was mapped together, whatever. And randomly today, he let me know he had a 2, and he spent some time with it. So, like, Zach, you were telling me like a little bit about how you got the controller. You had to drive out somewhere.
Yeah, man. So the controller I think came out this week, start of the week. I don't remember which day, but I like to buy from Best Buy, and I was doing the store locator thing. Like, no stores had it. Like, it would be one day no stores in the state have it. Next day, one has like 2 copies. Today I drove about an hour away just to find the one store in like a 400-mile radius that had 6 of them left.
God damn. 400 miles. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that was like searched Indiana and then all the neighboring states. So I got there like a half hour early and just waited by the door just because I was paranoid that someone else was gonna, scoop them up. Because I didn't know how rare of maybe that makes me sound stupid, but
no. See, the last time I had to deal with Best Buy was I my Halo Reach copy was a Halo Reach Best Buy exclusive. I paid like $150, and I was in a city at the college I went to, which you know where it's at. But
right.
I went to that Best Buy, and was a midnight release. And the last time I was actually at a Best Buy release was when I got to meet one of the directors for the Avengers movies, and it was super exclusive and super elite. And I was just like, this is still Best Buy. This is kind of crazy. So it's kind of crazy that you had to go through a 400-mile radius. How far did you actually have to drive to get it out? I
mean, it was it really wasn't that far out of my way from work. The only inconvenience was that I had to come back home to pick up my Elite 1 so that I could bring that back in for it.
Yeah, that's another thing you said to me is that you've traded in your Elites to go towards the next one. I mean, it's like a genius thing to do, though.
Yeah, so the thing is, I don't think this is a secret. The Elite Part 1, or whatever you want to call them, Series 1, I liked the controllers, don't get me wrong, but they just did not hold up to any sort of test of time, So I get them from Best Buy because Best Buy has that 2-year warranty.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they got a 2-year warranty. Bring it in for whatever reason, and you basically just have to pay for the warranty again. The difficulty with it being that Microsoft wasn't like producing very many of the Season 1 Elites for a while, so like you could only really get like refurbished ones. But I was on my 3rd Elite 1 controller by the time the Elite 2 came out.
Well, I mean, I kind of told you about my success with the controllers. I love them until they don't work, and I've had a really bad problem with the 3.5mm jack in them because I use a wired Turtle Beach headset, and it just fucking demolishes that jack, and I literally have to like sit there and finagle it to get it to work. So yeah, I totally understand what you're talking about with the working with.
Yeah, I get general wear and tear, but these things, man, like my first one, the bumper, the right bumper came completely off of it. And I'm probably like closer to your average gamer. When obviously not my own fault. It's lag or someone cheated. Definitely not me. But I still don't like throw my controllers or nothing, and the thing just popped right off. Like, and then the Elite 1 was they had these rubber grips on the back of the controller, and there was like a seam where the controller like could come in half, and they are notorious for just coming off over time. I don't know, from sweat or just regular use.
God,
all of them and it's just uncomfortable to hold. They also are really bad for stick drift. Like which I think that's just controllers in general anymore. But
yeah, I'd never heard of that. That's crazy.
Yeah, and that's something like I was looking online. People are like buying like I guess off market rubber grips to replace their old ones, and I'm like, man, I got a warranty. I'm just gonna take it back in and buy another warranty.
Yeah, so Best Buy offers like a 2-year warranty on them. Is that what it is?
Yeah, 2-year warranty on pretty much anything you buy there, electronic wise. I'm not affiliated with Best Buy. I don't speak for them. I don't know what all that really covers, but
Yeah.
cover these controllers. They were $120. So the warranty was like.
Is that free included with it, or just?
No, you have to pay extra. I think for the Elite Series 1, it was like $20, maybe $30. I can't remember now.
Worth it though. I mean, that's like completely worth it though.
Yeah, I mean that pays for 6 of them. Like. Now it's a little more expensive for the Elite Series 2, but that controller is still new. It's untested relatively. Yeah. I think it's gonna hold up better than the Series 1, but I just don't know yet.
So I have 2 questions then. What is the? I mean, this is totally just. I've not heard anything about this, so this is totally new to me. Is that there's actually a price for? Because GameStop doesn't offer anything like that. They offer stuff for games, but I'm not aware of anything they offer for any kind of accessories. I know they have like the 7-day whatever. If it gets blown up by terrorists, that you can bring it the fuck in. But I don't know anything about Best Buy, which has actually turned into one of my favorite places to go for games because they recently started doing like pre-owned stuff, which I think they might have stopped. But,
yeah, they pre-owned stuff. They did that Gamers Club unlocked for a short while, where like I think it's when the 360 and the Xbox One and the PS4 were new. You could get like new games for 10% off, which stopped being useful to me when I went digital.
Yeah, I went so many games there before I went digital. So is it much more than $20? And then 2, is it differently configured from the Elite 1 to Elite 2? Like, is it more than 2 years, or is it still 2 years?
So I think it varies based on the price of the item you're buying. Don't quote me on that for sure, but because I think this one was $40. This controller is $180 asking price, whereas the other one was in the $120 ballpark, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Actually, all right. It's a 2-year warranty that they offer, and it's really nice because if you sign up with the My Best Buy thing, I got the credit card. You can actually like log into your account online and see every purchase you've made and when you've made the purchases. So like I knew with my last Elite controller, I bought it back in June of 2018. So I knew I had until June of 2020 for this new Elite to come out and trade up if this one went belly up, which the grips were coming off, buttons were starting to stick, and I'm just like, well, time to trade up. And they take the full amount that you paid for the controller, and like literally all you pay for is the new warranty if you're getting the same price item. Now, like you can't just like go in and be like, hey, I've got this controller, there's nothing wrong with it, but I've got the warranty, I want to trade up, I'm not advocating that you lie to Best Buy, but like mine genuinely did have problems with it. And I mean, I guarantee most people's will too, because the controllers, while cool design, were not, I mean, they just weren't made with anything. I think they were made with weaker stuff than Lego blocks.
Yeah. And see, I've had everything go wrong from a PS3 controller to a PS4 to a 360 to an Xbox One. I mean, I currently just have, which is weird to say, I've had my Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons last longer than my Xbox One controllers, but I've only had my Joy-Cons for since 2017, and my left one is one of the ones that has the problem to where if you're too far away, it fucks up and it's completely unplayable. So I bought a Pro controller and I'm addicted to it, and that's all I play my Switch on unless it's portable. So, but I've had the 3.5mm jack go horrifically wrong in 3 of my Xbox One controllers. So when I use my Turtle Beach, I literally have to like plug it in every other time, and if it gets bumped, it goes out and it doesn't work. I've had friends that have the RB and LB go out all the time.
Oh yeah,
that happened, and I've literally I've had my PS4 controller my right trigger just stopped working. Just 100% stopped.
Well, and that's the thing, especially with the Elite Series 1 controllers, the bumpers, they feel really touchy. Like they work, don't get me wrong. And when you push them, they click. But they feel like they're just on by a thin piece of plastic. Like, I don't know the anatomy of it, but when I push it down, like, I didn't feel comfortable. Like, in say a game like Dying Light, where your parkour button was one of the bumpers.
Or
I
even
just knew
Gears of War, where your reload is R1.
exactly. So like I play Destiny a lot, and the control scheme that I would use in Destiny, you would trigger everything from your super to throwing grenades with the bumpers. I had those mapped to the two paddles on the back, two of the four paddles on the back of it, because I just didn't like clicking the bumpers. So like instead, so like that was my workaround. But my favorite thing about those bumpers with a shooting game is to put all four face buttons on those paddles, and then you never have to take your thumb off the stick. So I had to trade that for the security of not breaking the bumpers through normal use. So that was,
Yeah,
sort of
exactly.
inconvenient.
You want to use the back ones for more of a convenience than more of a like, holy shit, I'm scared I'm gonna fuck this controller up.
Yeah, exactly. I paid for a premium controller. I shouldn't have to be like, I don't know, like coddling it, I guess, is my.
It should be more of a complete comfort design than more of a build design type of thing. Right?
Yeah. I feel like I was trading, some comfort for some unease is what it amounted to. But I was so spoiled on that Elite controller that like, if the Best Buy didn't have a replacement in stock, I would just come to terms with like the busted up thing that I was dealing with, because I still preferred the layout to it. And it feels heavier than a lot of your standard Microsoft brand controllers. So like I liked the weight of it too, because like my peak gaming from childhood was the N64, where I'd put a rumble pack thing in the back of it, even if the batteries are dead, just because I love the weight of the controller.
Play some really good Donkey Kong on that one.
Do what?
Well, you have the rumble pack on that one, then you have like the other shit that happens, and there's some like Donkey Kong stuff that happens. So, I love that kind of shit. But no, so transitioning now, you have the Elite 2, which I'm completely fucking jealous of. And you've already mentioned like the tension for the thumbsticks. I'm just like, I can't even imagine being able to like go, oh, this feels too loose to me. I'm just gonna like pop the thing off, take the custom screwdriver, and like, torque it just a little bit so it's a little bit tighter tension. I mean, how long have you had it now? Like a month or so, right?
The Elite 2 or the Elite 1?
The 2.
Oh, I just got this thing today, man. I've been playing with it for the last like 4 or 5 hours.
So you've like noticed a difference from it, or the weight, or what's going on with it?
Yeah. So you mean like compared to like the Elite 1 or?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So out the box, it comes in the same like big foam looking shell that the Elite 1 had. With the only difference that it's got like a little flip top on the side of it, like maybe you take off like a water cooler, I guess. And on the inside, it's actually resting on this little metallic brick. And this brick is like one of those contact charging cradles that you could buy from like Energizer or Nokia or whatever. But it comes with one of those like 10-foot long USB-C cords, and it plugs in through the shell. Yeah, it's an estimate. I haven't measured it, but it's longer than I am tall, so I'm guessing 10 feet.
Damn, man.
And it's one of those it's got like a fabric or not a fabric, but like it's a really thick cord, I guess. It's like your dog is not going to chew it up.
Okay, yeah.
And it plugs in through the shell, or you could take like the little charging brick, I guess. You can take it out of the shell. It's magnetized in there to where it's going to be right where the cord plugs in through it, so you're not like having to like thread the needle, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's just you just plug it right in, there it is. But you can charge it while it's on the go. But anyways, out of the box, the controller itself, one thing that has a lot of people skeptical, and I think kind of rightly so, is the battery. The last Elite controller had a pop-off back. You could put AA in it. You could put your own rechargeable in it.
Yes, I love the fact that every Xbox controller since then, and even the Elite controller, had the option to pop in some AA's.
Well, I got bad news for you. This is a smooth back. It's got 3 little reflective circles on the back. That's where you put it on its own custom charging brick that I was telling you about. As far as I know, that's the only way to charge the thing. So
Gotcha.
if you lose that thing, or not sure how expletives go on here, but if if it's destroyed or something, you're fucked. Okay, well then you're fucked if you if you lose it or it's destroyed. I don't even know. Microsoft will probably sell replaceable ones at some point, but I doubt they'll be cheap. That's just conjecture, but either way, like, it comes in that big protective shell. Like, you probably shit the bed if you lost it. I don't know, but
see, I was really super bummed when I heard about that, because I'm like kind of a big. I mean, like, my 2 things as far as it goes are the super unpopular, I guess, right now in the industry. I like Xbox, I like Samsung. Both those have had rechargeable batteries, right? I can pop in a replaceable battery and make it bigger and whatever. Samsung, I bought a Note 9, whatever, and I can't replace the battery now. If I buy an Elite 2 controller, can't replace the battery, which is what I like to do. I like to, whatever. I have an Xbox One right now and a regular controller, and I have a rechargeable battery in it. And I charge it, and then if I forget to, I can always just throw in 2 AA's, and it lasts me forever, whatever I have to do. So that kind of sucks ass, but it depends on the life of the battery. Like, if they're like 40 hours, I can kind of see that being like, okay, I get it, because I've had a PS3 and a PS4, and I've dealt with that kind of shit. And like, even playing with my PS4, playing the Last of Us 2 remastered, I didn't have a problem with my controller. Like, it lasted fucking forever. And I was like, all right, whatever. And then when it fucks up, I plug it into my system. Like, I just scoot up a little closer to the TV and I plug it into my system. Same thing kind of happens with my Xbox One. Is I have a rechargeable battery. If it fucks up and I needed to plug it in, I plug it into a regular phone battery, like or charge cable, and go right into like like I plug it in, and it works perfectly fine. But it's just really nice to have the option to do both. So I get that.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I did forget to mention, it does have a USB-C port. So, I mean, if for some reason your batteries, I think so. I mean, I don't know. I haven't had to use it yet. Like, I mean, for the last 6 hours that I've been just like messing around, testing the controller out, I've not had to charge it. It came out of the box with a good battery life on it already.
That's pretty
good. But at the same time, if the battery does go bad down the road, you don't really want to have spent $180 on a corded controller.
Exactly. Well, like I said, the whole controller's got to go.
Yeah,
which is kind of
but
sad.
Again, you buy that warranty. Hopefully, if something goes bad, it goes bad within the first 2 years. Which brings me to the next point. From what I read, this controller is going to be forwards compatible with whatever they end up calling Project Scarlet. This controller will work on that console.
Yes, and that's been one of the biggest things I've been kind of worried about, but also kind of super hopeful about. I really hope they keep the same controller design, because like sometimes they try to like throw like, oh, guess what? There's this new boomerang kind of design, and there's this new battery thing that we're doing, or whatever. As long as they get people used to a rechargeable battery only design through the last kind of like leg of the Xbox One, they might get them used to that kind of design with the default controller that comes with the Xbox Scarlet. So that might be a good thing, or it could be a horrible thing. Like I said, right now, every other system does rechargeable batteries only, as far as I know.
Right.
I mean, I have a Pro controller for my Switch. I have the Joy-Cons, and then I had my PS4 controller, and they were all rechargeable only through just charging them. There was no battery option. As far as I knew, the Xbox One was the only one that actually offered that. So it'd be good if Xbox like adopted that, but in a really good way where it was like a 40-hour plus battery.
Yeah. I mean, the other nice thing about the charging station is that it's not like I don't know if you buy any of like the tablets that Microsoft sold, the Surface, I think. But I bought one of the.
I worked on a film that we had the assistant director. He did everything on a Microsoft tablet, and it was so much easier.
Oh yeah, the UI is nice. The UI is nice on them, but the charging thing, it was like this like patented like little narrow, and I'm like holding my hands up, but you can't see it. It's like a narrow, long magnetic plug-in that just like snaps to the side of it. And I mean, it's a cool little MacGuffin, but it's not really practical if you can't like just pick up a cord and plug it in, you know. And what's cool about this charging brick is that it's just a USB-C port. Like if you have a USB-C cord, you can just plug it right in with a cord that came with your phone.
Yeah, like I said, which is completely the newest way everything's going right now. Except for, actually, I'm not sure if the new Apple stuff. I know all the new Samsung stuff is all USB-C, but I'm not sure if the new Apple stuff is. I doubt it.
Well, when I say all the modern stuff, I don't mean Apple stuff. But out the box, you know, the cord comes with it, the charging brick, and your little doodads that you're used to if you're familiar at all with the Series 1. It's got 2 different D-pads you can switch out, and it's all the things that switch out on the controller itself are like magnetic. You're not like clipping anything on or epoxying it or soldering it or what have you.
Customization, because it's so easy to go from that to like some kind of like pro design setup where you see someone at MLG or like, oh well, they only use like A and X on their right side for these 2 paddles. They use this for that. So it's really nice to be able to do that kind of stuff just on the fly commercially.
Yep. And so like default, the controller has all 4 paddles plugged into the back. They're like these little bent dongles that have like little buttons on the controller itself that when you press the paddle itself, if you're not familiar with it, you know, it pushes the button in for you. And you can pull those out if you think they're cumbersome, or if you find you're pressing them on accident, you know, and you don't want to hit a button, you can take those off and it's not a problem. And there's like a little spot, there's like a little foam spot for every attachable in the case. So it's not like just sitting in there loosely either. And cool. It's really nice. And the same thing for the little screwdriver that we talked about earlier to adjust the resistance in the sticks, which it's
customizable. It's like it's just for that type of thing, right?
Like honestly, you know, except for the battery thing, I think this is what Microsoft should have sold us with the first Elite controller, because it's above and beyond, in my opinion, what I expected, because I didn't know what to expect, you know. It's got one long stick that you could use for like finer aiming, you know, which it's got like a concave, or no, I guess it would be a convex. I don't know. It's been a while since I've had geometry. The top of the thumbstick dips in.
Like the curved inside, and the concave is the oval.
Oh, okay, so the convex would be like the mushroom top.
Yeah.
So it does come with, because your standard sticks are the where they dip in, and there's textured ones and there's untextured ones, and there's one with like a mushroom top with like little I guess lines on it to where you can feel the texture, so it's a little more comfortable for like a movement stick on the left hand side. But then there's a long one to more precise aiming, which also helps if you torque the resistance all the way to the right. There's 3 tightness settings that you kind of got to just get a feel for.
Oh wait, there's 3. Like, does it differentiate between the 3? Like, you can feel that, or is it just like it goes all the way to one setting and all the way to a lesser setting?
So when you pop the stick off, you know, you can still see like the base of the joystick itself, part of the controller, and inside it there's a little like Phillips head insert, right? And that's where your little screwdriver device that comes with the controller, you pop it in there, and as you twist it right, it gets heavier resistance, and it gives a soft click each time you go up a level. It's not like a cumulative, like a dimmer switch or anything. It's like there's light, medium, heavy, I guess is the way I'd put it.
That's pretty cool. I didn't realize that either. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then for more customization on the back of it, like below the triggers, you'll see these little switches, and there's 3 settings, which if you had the Elite Series 1, you're familiar with this already, but there's only 2 settings on the other one. And what
That's
this
why,
does...
that's why I remember, because like I remember that they said you could do like up to like the 2, and it makes it to where the triggers are almost pretty much down at like a default position, so you can just kind of fire faster.
Right. So what
there's a third position?
So, like I said, I don't know the anatomy of these controllers. I haven't taken one apart because I'm not, I don't have that kind of disposable income. But my impression with the Series 1 is that all it was really doing was putting a hard stop on the trigger, like mechanically, like preventing the trigger from going all the way down. And so the problem with that would be if you had that setting on and you were playing like GTA, where the right trigger did multiple different things. Right, like it would fire a gun, but it would also accelerate your car, and that would work cool for your gun, right? Because you could more quickly fire your semi-automatics. But then you get in your car, you can't get to max acceleration without flipping that switch on the back of your controller again.
Yeah.
How I understand that they've done it this way is that when you adjust the depth of where the trigger goes, it actually reads that as a full trigger squeeze, regardless of what level you have it at. Whether you have it at full. Yeah. I didn't even know that till like a day before I purchased it. But so right now I have my right trigger, but all the way to where it's just like a hair trigger. And then the left one for aiming in first-person shooters, it's a complete depress of the trigger.
Well, that's really cool. That like so fast though. I mean, so can you turn that off for like a GTA? Just go.
Yeah, you can. You can completely
go full depress for a GTA, so you know the different degrees you have to go for. If you're playing like a Halo or a Call of Duty, you're like, nope, I need the hair trigger. I need to fire as fast as possible. That kind of shit.
Yep, that's not a software thing. That's just a little physical switch on the back of it. There's an individual one for each trigger. You can set that however you like on the fly. It's not like a menu you have to go to for that. Yeah, I really like that. And then the triggers, as far as like difference in controller wise, those rubber grips that was like a texture grip, it goes all the way around to the front of the controller. And just looking at it, I don't think it's like an actual overlay. I think it's just like they've kind of like cut the, if I'm just guessing here, but it looks to me like they've cut the mold for the plastic like controller case itself and textured that instead of putting a grip over it, is what it looks like to me. So I mean, it's not going to peel off like the last one did, because it is the controller, which I really like that. And then even the triggers have a textured thing on the flat part.
I guess right there.
That's
the extra $50 right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm willing to pay that because that coming apart was just such a pain, man.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
It is. And probably the third and a cooler option for a lot more casual folks, which, by the way, this is not like a casual gamer's controller. Like, don't waste $180 on something like this if you're like playing, I don't know, like, I don't want to sound like an elitist or something. I don't know, like if you're like playing Viva Pinata or something, or like there's no need for this controller. Like, it's a really cool controller. I like it a lot, but like, I mean, you don't need it if you don't need it. I'm not.
Yeah, not at all.
But there's a button. So the last Elite controller just had a switch between Profile 1 and Profile 2, where you would program different control schemes where you could customize what the different paddles did. And you could customize how your sticks responded as far as like how the sensitivity was. You could really fine tune all the sensitivity and the trigger sensitivity on the Elite 1 controller. And you can do all that in this one too. I didn't really dive deep into that. I just basically messed with my paddles, what the buttons did, Yeah. But this one, it has a push button, and it's got 3 LED lights, so you can have 3 different profiles active at once. Now you can make a bunch of different profiles, but the controller can only like have so many at quick access at a time. The Elite 1 had 2. This one has 3. And what's a cool thing about it is, say you forgot what your button layout were and you can't figure out how to like get past the main menu of a game, right? If you hold that button down, it'll set your controller to default. It'll turn the paddles on the back off, which is really nice for like if my wife wants to use the remote for Netflix or something. She hates using the Elite controller because the paddles on the back, she feels like she pushes them, it hits a bunch of buttons. And if I just push that button and hold it for a second, those paddles turn off, and she can just use it like regular.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, so I mean, that's another thing I didn't know about.
Damn.
But where the software for this, I think, really shines is something that the Elite One controller, to my knowledge, didn't do. You can customize every single button on this thing. So, like, say, like a lot of games now, it's kind of a moot because you can customize like what every single button does per game for like Overwatch.
Yeah, UI and everything.
But some games still like have like, you know, like 8 different presets to pick from, and say you like some of that, but you don't like all of that. You can change every single setting for every single button. Like you could make every button press A if you wanted to. I don't know why you would, but you definitely can.
It's just like a drunken fun night. Just hey, you gotta play this game. Every fucking button's A.
That's just like to fuck with your friends. You know, it's like the old-fashioned way of giving them the Mad Catz controller, but you give them the controller that's all A's.
Yeah, it'd be pretty fun.
But it's
you're gonna fire like a fuck ton of bullets. Yeah, get ready.
God.
Yeah. You're playing the Die Hard trilogy on PlayStation 1 with Mad Catz controllers, and everything's on auto. Good luck.
Jesus Christ. That's just like flashbacks, war stories.
You're going to lose. Just make us laugh.
But let's be real. I wouldn't let my friends use this controller. This is my controller.
I mean, Jesus Christ. It costs as much as the what's the Steel Commander or Steel there's a game that where you probably like manage a mech, but it's like $180 game because of the controller. This is one of those where it's just like, nope, not gonna do it.
Yeah, that sounds bad. I don't think I might have heard of it, but I'm not pulling a name.
Yeah, it's one of the ones where you actually like manage a mech. Can I remember where it is? It's for 360.
Oh, no, you're beyond me on that one. I'm not sure. I'm pulling
something like the Commander or something like that, but it's literally like $108. I think it's $189 controller. It's fucking
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, people still use it. Actually, I still see videos of people like using it. Like, yep, we're still doing it.
Well, to be fair, there's people like playing Dark Souls 3 with a Guitar Hero controller. Like,
yeah, I've seen that. Yes, and it amazes me they get past the guy. First skeleton. They're like, "Yep, I did it." I'm like,
"Yeah,
you did fucking do it."
I see them do like the final boss with Dance Dance Revolution mat and not get hit, and I just like, I don't understand. That's a new level of challenge that I can't even comprehend. Like I can't even get to that level with a controller, you know. If nothing else, you know, take my opinion for a grain of salt. I'm not an expert reviewer. I'm just some guy that bought a controller.
That's the best. That's the best though, is because Zach is not an expert reviewer. He owns it. He has real life experience with it. I mean, like, no one's holding you against it. Like, it's not like a weird, like, oh, if you don't like it, he's not gonna like it. So
yeah. Like, if you don't like it, like, that's fair. That's totally good. I don't make any money off their sales.
I don't make any money off anything. This shit.
But it's a fun little toy. If you got $180 burning a hole in your wallet, I'd say go for it.
I would say, like, yeah. If I have an Xbox, I love my Xbox. I want to buy it, but I'm so poor, so I eventually will, and I'll let you guys know about it. So, Zach, thank you for talking to me. I hope your raid goes really well.
I do too.
I love you to death, man. And I'm glad that you decided to talk to me and use your voice for my podcast. So thank you so much.
All right, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, peace.
See ya.
Okay, guys. I think that's all I got for this episode. Thank you for listening to the updated episode. I know to the 11 people that listen to the long form mode version, I am sorry. I didn't add in all of the new stuff or whatever. I just had stuff I wanted to say, and I didn't feel like making people wait a whole another week to say what I wanted to. The commentary on Outer Worlds and a little bit of news this week. I didn't want to have 2 episodes go out so close together where it's just like, well, which one is blah, blah, blah. So I figured I'd just update this one. So I'm glad that you guys came back and listened, possibly for a second time. So that's pretty great. So I will talk to you guys soon. I'm going to hop on. I'm going to play Outer Worlds. I'm going to stream it. Mixer.com/thriller_daddy. And I'm going to play that. I hope to see you guys there. Check us out on Facebook. Oh, God. Instagram. Twitter. All the things that make you click on your phone. And also, please, guys, do not forget that this is the only podcast where you can get the power up and win the game! I like recording in my bathroom. It's fun. Alright, guys. I'll talk to you soon.